everyone, welcome to this episode of Think Piece. Thank you for joining me today. I wanted to talk about what's happening in Huntsville as far as Stormy's mother's comments about Melody and Marceau, implying that Melody may not be happy because she's lonely at the top. So first about Stormy's mother, last year or earlier this year, I posted a rant about Ariane after her interview with Tasha K, and I was complaining about the fact that she was getting fame and notoriety because we were paying attention to her. And I also mentioned that we have to be careful with who and what we give our attention to, because whatever we pay attention to becomes more powerful, relevant, and significant in our lives. And so I guess Stormy's mother has a problem with Melody. And if that's the case, my question is, so what? Like, when I read her comments from 2020 about how she felt about Martell and Melody's marriage, I honestly don't think it was a big deal, because back then a lot of people didn't like Melody. And everybody's not supposed to like Melody. It is okay for Melody to have haters. That is fine. But let me keep it a buck with you guys. I think Melody's fans are unintentionally amplifying the voices of her haters. I don't even know why Stormy's mother is being mentioned at all. She's completely irrelevant to the show. She's not even a cast member. Stormy's barely a cast member. She may become a full-time cast member next season, but in this season, she's not even relevant like that. And so Stormy's mother does not have to like Melody. That is okay. It is not the end of the world if Melody has haters. Melody has always had haters, and everybody's not going to like her. That's fine. But again, Melody's supporters may be unintentionally giving her enemies or her haters a platform by giving them so much attention. So, for example, if someone says something about Melody that her fans do not agree with, there's a swarm of attention and a wave of comments passionately defending Melody, which is unnecessary at this point, because there's enough information about the show and Martell and Melody's relationship for people to decide who they want to support. The reason why I started my platform was because I felt like there was a bias against Melody by many women who I believed wanted to be in her position. Not all women, of course not, but I felt like a lot of women, especially Martell's fans, I felt like they were jealous of Melody because they wanted to be in her position, and they felt like Martell was a catch. He was a bald-headed, college-educated, handsome black man who loved his kids, quote-unquote. And if they were Melody, they would treat Martell like a king. And, Ariane kind of said the same thing. She implied that if Melody was giving Martell what he wanted, he wouldn't have strayed and cheated with her. This is also what I believe happened with Derek Jackson and his wife. I noticed that when Derek Jackson's wife was first revealed, the comments from the women were vicious. And they were surprised that such a handsome black king was married to an average girl next door type. So Derek Jackson's wife is beautiful, but she's not like an IG baddie, right? So in my opinion, a lot of women started to attack his wife more than they attacked him. That's what it felt like to me. And I was low-key disgusted because I didn't like the fact that so many women were coming so hard for his wife, who was being cheated on by him constantly. So based on the way she dresses and the way that she talks and the bonnet she was wearing, it was obvious to me that his wife was damaged. And the people who were attacking her had no empathy for her whatsoever. And I believe that the lack of empathy from women was because they wanted to be in her position. They felt like she did not deserve a man like Derek Jackson. They wanted to be his wife. Now, I'm not saying that this is how Stormy's mother felt about Melody and Martell, but many women had a hard time sympathizing with Melody because they wanted to be in her position, and they felt like Martell was the prize, and Melody should have been grateful to even be in his presence. Martell kind of said the same thing when he spoke to Dr. Heavenly. He was like, I look good, I help out around the house, I do all this shit with the kids, and I can't get what I want. So at that point, he was indignant and self-righteous. And Martell felt like he was considered a catch because he was better than the majority of the bums in the black community. And he felt like because of this, Melody should accept whatever BS he had dished out to her. And so when it comes to Stormy's mother, the fact that she's been hating on Melody for a couple years since she's known of her proves that there's nothing that you guys can say to her today at this point to convince her that she's wrong about Melody. And that is fine. It is okay for people to not like Melody because everybody's not supposed to like you. It's all right. But if you do not want to amplify the voices of her haters, you cannot swarm and attack these people and then give them a platform in the process, because then the vloggers will get involved, the content creators get involved, and then they report about it, and then Stormi's mother becomes relevant. Stormi's mother is not relevant to the show. She's not even on the show. Now, I could be wrong, but I didn't hear her say anything about how Martell treated Melody, okay? And if she didn't say anything about that, then I know all I need to know about her. So again, in the grand scheme of things, Stormi's mother's opinion is not important. And we're making her relevant by paying attention to her, the same way we did with Ariane. In the past, I talked about how I did not like the fact that our culture elevates trashy, messy people. I talked about Basketball Wives and The Real Housewives franchise and Love and Hip Hop and whatever, and the other garbage reality shows that elevated ignorant, unskilled, and vicious money-hungry people. So we as a community have to stop paying attention to the BS. Everybody's not going to like Melody, and I hope she gets to the point where she's okay with that. I don't know why people are saying that her fans are turning against her. I've heard that more than once. I don't know exactly what happened over the past week to turn the tides. I don't have enough context, but I'm assuming it's because of the stuff that Stormi's mother said and things that happened during the reunion, right? So again, Stormi's mother should not be important to Melody. Unless she's stopping Melody's money or attacking her children, unless she poses a physical threat to Melody, she's entitled to hate from the sidelines. Melody will be fine, okay? But the trolls become more powerful because we're paying attention to them. So people don't like Ariane, but they're paying attention to her. They go on social media and they watch her videos and they interact with her. Like, I stopped reporting on her a little while ago because I felt like I was still contributing to the problem. And my OG subscribers know that that always bothered me. But I justified talking about her by saying like, well, maybe if I shed light on a situation, people will pull their energy away from her so that she becomes less relevant. If you guys remember, at some point, some people were asking for Melody to be on the show. And that bothered me because I felt like, why does this woman who is famous for sleeping with a married man and has no other talents or skills, why would she deserve to be on this platform that Melody worked hard to build? What sense does that make? That makes no sense. But many people in our community like drama. We want to see drama and we want to feel drama. We want to be part of the drama ourselves. So we will blow things out of proportion. This is almost like low-key instigating. I feel like the audience is partially responsible. Well, maybe not all the audience. Some people in the audience are partially responsible for the dynamic of the cast members on the show. And I've said this before because I said that the audience is now part of this show. And I'm constantly questioning how my commentary is helping or hurting the cast. Okay, so that's something that I have to take into consideration every time I post a video. And I feel like I'm constantly fighting against my conscience when I post some of this content. But anyway, yeah, it seems like people are unintentionally or intentionally instigating rifts and beefs and making mountains out of molehills between the cast members and the audience. It's like, why do people really care about how Stormi's mother feels about Melody? Melody's fans and Martell's fans at this point should stop attacking each other and the cast because it's not solving anything. When I started my channel, I felt like a lot of what Melody was going through was being dismissed, or people weren't aware of her trauma and why she was reacting and responding to Martell the way that she was. I didn't support Melody because I thought she was perfect. I never thought Melody was perfect. I supported Melody in spite of her imperfections because that's how much I respect her. I don't need Melody to be perfect for me to respect her. I don't need Melody to be perfect to support her. I don't need to hate Martell to support Melody either. I hate how Martell treated Melody, but I don't need to hate him as a person. I don't need to wish illness and pain and death and poverty and failure on Martell to show support to Melody. That's not necessary. You don't have to show support to Melody by abusing the people who don't like her or by attacking the people who don't like her, especially the people who are not on the show. Like, Stormi's mother is entitled to her opinion. That is okay. She does not like Melody, and I'm sure that Stormi's mother has people who don't like her either. That's fine. I remember reading comments before I started my channel from people who said that they didn't like Melody's personality, and they felt like Martell was right for being upset with Melody because it seems like Melody put her career first. And I can understand to an extent why some women feel this way. I've always understood that position. However, if Martell was not happy with Melody, then he should have left her ass alone. That's my point. If you're so miserable with this woman that you want to destroy her, then let her go. Don't complain about her and say she's every negative bad thing in the book, and then you still want to stay married to her, right? So Martell was saying that Melody can't keep friends. These people are not her friends. They weren't her friends off the rip. They were people who came around her for opportunities, just like Martell hung around Melody for opportunities. He did not want to let her go because her hard work was financing his affair and it was making them both look good. They were the power couple, right? All right. So what do these people want from Melody? I'm going to say this. It is really interesting that Tisha doesn't get along with her own cousin, Kiki. It's interesting that LeBeric barely interacts with Destiny at all. It's interesting that Ariane talks about Martell whenever she's in a bad mood, and Martell allows a woman to disrespect the mother of his 4 children who he says he loves so much. But nobody ever says, oh, these people cannot maintain healthy relationships because these people are fake. If your ex-husband isn't dealing with you at all, what did you do for that to happen? Okay? Destiny's ex-husband, LeBeric, dropped her, or he divorced her within a few weeks of her giving birth to his only child. So what happened within that short period of time where a man like LeBeric, who's kind of successful, will up and leave his wife like that? And again, Tisha and Kiki can't even get along, and they're blood cousins, right? Martell has been stringing Ariane alone for 7 years. They're not together. Now, is Martell somebody who can't maintain healthy relationships? Right? Martell needs friends who don't call him out on his shit. What happened when Marcel and Martell got in an argument in season 1, Martell was upset because Marcel was sniggling and giggling about the issues in his marriage. And Martell knew that Marcel was cheating on Tisha. Okay? So they're only cool, or Martell is only cool with Marcel as long as they both look the other way when they're doing wrong. Right? So on IG, Marcel says something like, if it's lonely at the top, then you did it wrong. Something like that. So basically, Melody was upset about whatever she was watching or reading on social media, and Marcel took the opportunity to throw a jab at her and act as if being married and miserable is better than being single and miserable, because if he said she did it wrong, what did Melody do wrong besides divorce a man who was having an affair on her for 5 years and got somebody else pregnant? Why would it be wrong to divorce a man who was mistreating her? So I guess according to Marcel, Melody would be less miserable if she was still married to Martell and still friends with the people who knew Martell was cheating on her, who was helping Martell to cheat on her. According to Marcel, Melody will be much happier if she maintained those fake relationships. She'd be much happier if she played Boo Boo the Fool, let Martell play in her fucking face, let him keep his mistress and still hang around with the Scotts, because at least she won't be alone. She'll be unhappy, but at least she won't be lonely at the top, right? She will be with Martell at the top, miserable together with the Scotts, acting as if everything is all good. This is why Tisha won't leave her husband, even if she caught him cheating, because she'd rather be miserable and married than happy and single. Many women are like that. They'll say, well, at least I got a man. And if I got a man, the bottom isn't the bottom. The bottom is being single. So I got a man, and the man is a buffer for me. He validates my existence, even though he's making me unhappy. What he's doing is making me unhappy, but his very presence alone makes me feel better about myself. Women like Tisha say, I'd rather be crying my eyes out because my husband's cheating on me than happy and single in my bed alone. So Marcel is saying that it's lonely at the top. Sometimes it is. Most people who are really successful and accomplished don't have a lot of friends because they're driven by their career, their passions. And it's fine when doctors do it. It's fine when astronauts do it. It's fine when entrepreneurs do it. It happens all the time. But apparently it becomes a problem because a woman's supposed to put everyone first and stick by her man. She's supposed to sacrifice her dreams for a man who was cheating on her for 5 years and got his mistress pregnant 3 times. That's what Melody was supposed to do. And if she did that, she wouldn't be sad, single, and lonely. She'd be married, sad, and lonely, because it's the woman's job to keep the relationship together. No matter how fucked up her husband is, no matter how badly Martell disrespected her, Melody was supposed to stay. So, in their minds, Melody was the problem, okay? She was the one that left Martell. How dare she do that? Martell's a good guy. He has some issues, but he's a good guy, right? Forget the fact that Martell tried to do everything to destroy Melody. Forget that. So what was she supposed to do? Stay married and miserable and post fake ass pictures on social media while her enemy is carrying her husband's baby? Is she supposed to do that? So these people were not her friends in the first place, okay? If you're helping to facilitate my husband's cheating, you are not my friend. So I'd rather be lonely or alone at the top than have a bunch of backstabbing vipers behind me. So some people are like, Melody is a problem in these relationships. Like, these people weren't her friends in the first place. They were not her friends in the first place. So Melody has to be perfect while everybody else can cheat on their wives, betray their cousins, run off their husbands, breadcrumb their mistresses, have a baby with the mistress, allow their mistress to disrespect their wife and children. They're given grace. But Melody, no. She's the problem. I don't know if Stormy was friends with Ari or not. But what kind of woman would be friends with a woman like Ariane? I can't be cool with somebody who's cool with my enemy if that's what was happening with Stormy and Ariane. So if Stormy was cool with Ariane before the show started, were Melody and Stormy ever really friends? Perhaps they had a working relationship, and that's okay. It is okay for them to have a working relationship and not be buddy-buddy. But the audience really needs to stop magnifying the BS between the cast members, because it seems like nothing truly significant happened between Stormy and Melody to cause whatever beef they have now. Like, I don't know for sure. Maybe I'm missing something. Stormy's mother doesn't like Mel. So now what? What is she going to do about it? Nothing but complain. Okay? The only reason why these people are on the show is because of their antagonistic relationship with Melody. And with the exception of Kimmy, Tiffany, and Lewis, I would not want to be around most of the cast members either. Especially not Marcel and Tisha if Marcel was going to Atlanta with my husband to cheat with his mistress. So yeah, I'm sure Melody would rather be alone and lonely at the top than be around you and your wife, Marcel. Okay, now on to Martel. Why would Melody want to be friends with Martel if it wasn't for the kids? He dogged her out for years. And instead of the friends really calling him out for what he did, or, some of them did, but they didn't have the same amount of smoke for Martel as they did for Melody. Martel can't even stop his mistress from disrespecting his ex-wife and the mother of his kids. But Mel's the problem, okay? Melody has a very hard shell and she has a hard exterior. And when people see that you have a hard exterior, they will hit you harder. When you hide your feelings, people don't think you have them. But when you show your emotions to haters, they're like, haha, I finally got you after all this time. Now I'm ready to pounce. Now that you're showing vulnerability, it's time for me to attack because I can't hurt you when you're confident and self-assured. So I have to wait for you to show a moment of weakness to pounce. Why would Melody want someone like that to be her friend? Listen, I know why some people don't like Melody, okay? I knew it from day one, but I still support Melody. I don't support Melody because I think she's perfect and she can do no wrong. That is not why I support her. I support her because I see what she's trying to do for herself in her life. I can see her trauma. I know what she's been through. Not every little detail, but I know what she's trying to do for herself. I know what she's trying to do for her life and her family and her children. And the people around her were cool with that because they were benefiting from her hard work as well. So how can Marceau say it's lonely at the top in reference to Melody when Melody brought them all onto the show, right? She wanted to be at the top with her cast members. And what did she get in return for her loyalty to her friends? What did Melody get for extending this show as an opportunity to her friends? She finds out that her husband and his best friend is going to Atlanta to have sex with pterodactyls and linebackers. So Melody tried to bring other people to the top with her. This backfired because if you're cool with your friend cheating on his wife, you don't respect the wife like that. So if Melody was such a bad friend, how come Marceau and Tisha were willing to throw Kiki under the bus to ingratiate themselves with Melody and Martel? Because Melody and Martel at that time represented opportunities for them. Melody gets hate because she broke the rules. She divorced a handsome, cheating man who loves his kids. She didn't suck it up and blame herself completely for what she was doing, which is what Tisha does all the time. Now, I am not saying that Melody did not contribute to the downfall of her marriage. It takes two to tango, right? But to this day, Martel is the one saying that he regrets what happened in the relationship because he was the one doing her dirty. Not to say that Melody was perfect. No, but who's the one apologizing? Who's the one saying, I wish I would have done things differently? Who's the one saying I should have given her more time? Who's the one that made it hard for Melody to move on? Okay? Who's the one that was spending Melody's money on his mistress? Who's the one who was able to flex because of Melody's hard work and her builder's license? Who's the one who got his mistress pregnant several times? Who was doing that? And Melody covered for Martel for years, to the point where people were surprised that Martel did not have his shit together. But she's the one with the problem though, right? It's really easy to attack somebody when they're alone. because you don't think they have any support. And it's easy to convince the world that this person's alone because there's automatically something wrong with them. Is that why Marceau went to Africa alone? Right? He went to Africa, which is thousands of miles away from his family, for an entire week alone. But if you're Melody, being alone means you're bad. Nobody wants to be around you. She's the reason why she doesn't have any friends. I can't be friends with people who are cool with somebody who screwed over Melody the way that Martell did. Marceau and the gang are only friends because they're doing dirt together, and friends usually share the same value system. Melody doesn't have the same value system as the people who were talking about her. Like, I don't know what Stormy did or said. I can't say for sure. But at some point, they were cool enough for Melody to film at her house, and I think the kids went to her pool. Like, they were cool enough to have some time together. But Melody was a better friend to Destiny than Stormy was to Melody. So for Stormy's mother to imply that Melody was using her for what? Her pool? Her house to film a photo shoot? Melody has done more for this entire cast than they've done for her. So the fact that they don't like her personality says something about their character, because they were cool with taking something from someone who they didn't like. That's called using somebody. So if you don't like somebody and you don't respect them, why are you taking anything from them? Because you see them as an asset. And once they're no longer an asset to you, you're like, well, it's lonely at the top. Let's throw little jabs when you're at your weakest, when you're showing that you're a human being. Now it's time for the vipers to pounce. This is what happened when Melody was going through her divorce with Martell. Instead of being sympathetic towards Melody and giving Melody time and space to heal from the situation, Tisha went on the attack because Melody was vulnerable. Melody was crying and lonely when she was with Martell. Did Marceau say anything about that? Melody was devastated. You saw how thin she was in season 1. I thought she looked good, but I saw how thin she was in season 1. She was not eating. She was really stressed. Yet at the time, she had 2 successful companies. So she was at the top of her game, right? At the top, but still crying, struggling, and lonely. Why? Because she was married to an abusive narcissist who was using her friends to cover up his cheating. But at least she was still married, right? At least she wasn't alone. She's miserable and crying, but at least she's still married. So I saw a video of the cast members, sans Martell and Melody, dancing together. I think they were in some parking lot at Black. And what came to mind was the enemy of my enemy is my friend. When you have a common enemy, you can all join forces like Voltron to show solidarity and support each other. If Melody leaves the show, or if she stops dealing with them altogether, will they still be buddy-buddy? Destiny and Stormy could barely stand each other in the beginning of a season. Now they're buddy-buddy. Okay. This is what happened to Martell and Arion's relationship. Martell and Arion's relationship was built on the fact that they both did not like Melody. They despised Melody. That was what they had in common. Yes, they had sexual chemistry and they were attracted to each other, but Martell's marriage to Melody was the reason why they were dating. And as soon as Melody divorced Martell, his relationship with Arion fell apart because she was the glue that kept them together. Marceau and Maurice are brothers. They're always going to be tight to some extent. But in this case, for this show, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And that's why most friendships among women are fake. A lot of female relationships are forged by jealousy or loneliness because the person doesn't have a man, right? That's not always the case, but it happens a lot. We saw what happened with Shanquella Robinson. She was on a trip with 3 other women and they were all plotting against her, okay? I'm sure their hatred and dislike for Shanquella was a bond that drew them closer together. And now that she's gone, are they still tight? So anyway, back to the cast dancing together. The optics look gnarly. It looks like, oh, all these people are having so much fun without Melody, right? Most of them weren't cool with her in the first place. They acted like they were, but they were not. So without Melody being the bad guy, what else will Tisha and them have to talk about? They're using Melody's energy against her. And again, Melody should not be mad about these people not being her friends because they have shown that they're not really loyal to anyone, right? So somebody on social media asked Stormy, I think they were trying to instigate, why didn't she like any of Melody's photos? And then Stormy said that Melody didn't like any of her posts either, and she needs to keep the same energy. So why did that person ask that question? To instigate mess? If I appreciate somebody and I respect them, they don't have to kiss my behind or like my videos or my IG posts for me to support them. That's not necessary for me. If I respect you and I appreciate you as a person, you don't have to show up the way I want you to show up every day for me to fuck with you. So it seems as if Stormy is saying that she will only show support to Melody if Melody shows support to her, which is fair, but is that really a friendship? Not really. Because sometimes people are busy. They're too busy to look at their whole IG feed to like every single, that's not necessary. Like, if you know I like you, I'm not going to have time to go through every single one of your posts and like your posts. That is corny to me. That's childish. Okay. So that should not be a reason for them not to be cool with each other anymore. I hope that's not the reason. I really hope not. That's so petty and small. So some people accuse me of being on Melody's payroll, and they don't know that I don't move that way. My channel will be a whole lot bigger if I said certain things. I know what the algorithm wants. I know what the audience wants to hear. And I intentionally avoid saying certain things, and I avoid posting too much about the show because I don't want to feed into the bloodlust of the audience. I talked about this over the summer. It's too much drama on the show, and I don't want to instigate more drama by talking about the cast members every single day, right? I want to use my platform to help elevate and educate and not just instigate the drama between the cast members. That's not the purpose of this platform. It's no shade to anybody else's platform because I watch other people's platforms for more information about the show that I don't want to research myself. So they serve a purpose too. But for my channel, I'm not doing that. It makes me uncomfortable, right? So I don't rock with Melody because she supported my channel in the past. That's not why I support her. If she were to unfollow me tomorrow, she would have said, forget you, right? I would still respect what she's doing and keep it pushing, okay? I wouldn't be like, oh, that's why nobody likes you. I have my own personal reasons for liking Melody, and my opinion about Melody won't change because of what other people are saying. That's not how I treat my friends, okay? My friends don't have to be perfect. I am far from perfect, and I accept my friends for their imperfections, and they accept me for my imperfections. But if I see you're a good person doing the right thing, and we have the same values and similar mindsets about the way we see the world, I'm still going to support you regardless of whether or not it's reciprocated, because my respect for you is not contingent upon you being who I want you to be. My respect for you is based on the way you carry yourself, because of how you think. It is not because of who you know, how famous you are, or how big your platform is. I don't care about that at all, okay? So again, I tend to support people who I respect and whose values are in alignment with mine. So my support for Melody is going to remain the same because I was aware of Melody's flaws from the very beginning. I knew what she was going through. And as I said before, I chose not to speak about her issues because I did not want my commentary to be weaponized against her, because she was already going through a very difficult, traumatic experience. And she was trying to figure things out. So I did not want to add fuel to the fire by saying, well, the reason why Martell cheated on her was because she wasn't satisfying him and she was so focused on her career that she couldn't give him enough attention. I understand that point. But then if that was the case, he should have left her ass alone, right? That's my problem with Martell. The fact that Melody did not try to destroy Martell, which she could have. She did not destroy Martell for the sake of her children and for the sake of his future growth and progress. She did not make it hard for him to move on with his life, but he damn sure tried to make it hard for her to move on with hers, right? While blaming her for the decisions he made in their relationship. So a lot of the people who are turning on Melody now, more than likely, they weren't really messing with her in the first place. They just jumped on the bandwagon, and that's okay because, again, everybody does not have to like Melody. It is okay for Melody to have haters or people who don't like her for whatever reason, right? Not necessarily haters, but, I don't like her personality. That's fine. A lot of people don't like Martell either. That's okay, too, right? It's not the end of the world. If Stormy or her mother don't like Melody, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Melody's going to be fine, okay? Try having a show without her, though. Try having a show without talking about her. What is Destiny going to talk about? Nothing. What is Teach and Marcel going to talk about? Kiki. And they don't want to do that because Kiki got some receipts that will probably prove that Melody wasn't lying about Marcel cheating in the beginning. What are Maurice and Kimmy going to talk about? Her illness. And it's a sad situation. And that's not the basis for a show, watching somebody suffer through cancer. That's painful for a lot of people. And, I hope she's doing okay. So is the basis of the show now like how many people hate Melody? Who doesn't like Melody? If Melody leaves the show, just like she left Martell, what's going to happen to the fake relationships? Most people watch the show for Martell and Melody's dynamic because they have natural chemistry. They're the reason why most people watch the show. Marcel and Tisha are not transparent enough to be the main focus of the show. If they became the focus of the show, most, if not all, of Marcel's skeletons will come out the closet, okay? And then Tisha will be crying at the top, just like Melody was when she was married to Martell. I always knew Marcel cheated because Martell said you had 20 girlfriends. It was an exaggeration, but 20 could have been 2. And Martell would know because they hung out together. What kind of married man hangs out with his married friend and his mistress? So of course he cheated, which makes Tisha look even worse because instead of showing solidarity with her friend and sharing her similar experience with cheating and infidelity, she decided to use that moment to attack Melody. Largely because Melody's success in her drive was an affront to Tisha, okay? Instead of bonding with Melody, Tisha attacked Melody. Tisha liked seeing Melody's crown tilted, which is why she threw the mistress in her face, right? And instead of showing empathy towards Melody and sharing her own experiences, like I said, she acted like she didn't even know what the concept of cheating meant. Then we find out her mom has a husband and a boyfriend. That's fine. She can protect her marriage and her relationship. But I suspect as time progresses and Melody moves forward with her life, with or without the show, these people will begin to turn on each other as their skeletons come out the closet. Because how else are they going to maintain the show? Nobody wants to see Tisha's family get exploited for their ignorance. And like I said earlier, Marcel was talking about somebody being lonely at the top when he was the one who told the Holtz about Kiki's addiction. Okay? That was none of his business. He didn't do that to protect the Holtz. He did it to make him and Tisha look better by comparison. Okay? Pick us for the show. Don't pick Kiki and her husband. We're a better fit for the show. Let me throw my own cousin under the bus for an opportunity with a woman I don't even like, and then blame Melody for not maintaining relationships with people who are willing to throw their own family under the bus. Are they serious? I wouldn't deal with Marceau or Tisha either if I was Melody, and I would not feel bad about these people not liking me because I don't respect them. If I don't respect you, I don't care about you liking me. And Melody should feel the same way. If they're not respectable people, meaning that they're willing to betray their loved ones for opportunities and they don't share the same values as I do, then I wouldn't want to be their friend anyway. It's as simple as that. Nobody has to be perfect, but our values have to be in alignment with each other. We have to have the same moral standing or the same core values, okay? So to go back a little bit, if you guys don't want Stormy's mother to have a voice on the show, don't pay attention to what she's saying. If you don't like Stormy, don't pay her any mind either, because when you ignore people, you force them to show their true colors. If you respond to people, then they can use your response to them to justify their bad behavior, okay? So when Melody ignored Ariane, that drove her crazy. She started ranting and raving and talking on the blogs about Melody because Melody ignored her and paid her dust. When you ignore people either intentionally or because you have other stuff going on and you're too busy, you give them a chance to show you who they really are, right? Like when Tisha thought Melody was ignoring her, what happened? She went on the attack. She started to bring up situations that were really painful for Melody. And when you ignore people, they show their true feelings for better or worse. When Melody asked Kimmy how was she doing and Kimmy gave her cryptic answers, Melody didn't say, "Oh my God, we're not friends anymore. You're hiding things from me." Melody said, "That's okay. I'll give you time and space to process what you're going through because I'm really your friend, or I really respect you. I respect you enough to give you the space to deal with whatever you're dealing with the way you see fit." Unlike Tisha, who attacked Melody because Melody pulled back from the relationship when she found out Martell was cheating and she was trying to heal. Okay, but yeah, to close it out, here's my message for Melody's fans. I'm sure Melody appreciates the support you're showing her, but at some point, the support you're showing her can be perceived as bullying. And if people think you're bullying them, they're going to stand 10 toes down and defend their position. And if you bully Melody's enemies with the constant attacks online, then they're going to feel justified in not liking Melody, which I'm sure is not what you guys want. So if you want to disempower Melody's enemies like Ariana, Martell, or Stormy's mother, or even Stormy, don't pay attention to them, and this will force them to show their true feelings about Melody. I'm sure they're listening to this. If they're not, that's fine. But when you attack people for having an opinion, you force them to defend themselves against your accusations. As a matter of fact, I would not be surprised if some people on the show believe that Melody is using her fans to attack her enemies. This is what happened a few years ago to Beyonce, when Beyonce put out the Lemonade album. People were speculating about who the Becky with the good hair was, and the Beehive swarmed the personal Twitter account of the individual who they thought was the Becky with the good hair, okay? At some point, Beyonce was called out and accused of cyberbullying because she wasn't telling her fans to stop doing that, right? Don't attack this person on my behalf. I appreciate your support, but this is wrong. Now, I don't believe Melody's doing that, and I'm not saying that she's doing that. She told you guys to stop before. She said, "I don't need you guys to go so hard on certain things," and she appreciates your prayers, right? A few months ago, Melody said something like people were complaining about the drama on the show. And she was like, if you don't like the drama on the show, then you could just watch PBS or something like that. And that was another point where the volatility on the show was becoming too much to deal with. And the amount of animosity between the cast members and the audience was becoming palpable. And it was really volcanic. But when she said that people should watch PBS if they don't want to see violence, then I was like, well, be careful what you wish for, because sometimes if the fire gets too hot, you get burnt too. And I say all this to say, you guys got to fall back, because this is something I was talking about months ago. Okay? I know you love Melody and you want to support her. I support her too. But you can support her without attacking people for not feeling the same way that you do. Okay? It's good to disagree, but attacking is different. Calling someone names or saying someone is stupid or basically trying to invalidate someone else's perspective because they don't align with your own perspectives is not the way to go either. And I've experienced this on this channel more than once, right? Because if I dare say anything that the audience doesn't agree with, then now I hate Melody. The irony is that I am an influencer in this space when it comes to this show. And many people have grown to support Melody because of the content that I've created. And these same people are telling me that I'm now against Melody for saying that Martell was right about anything. It's like some people in the audience need me to hate Martell in order to support Melody. I don't need to hate Martell or to see him as doing the wrong thing every single time in order to support Melody. That's an unrealistic expectation, and it's not going to happen. If I see something that I don't agree with, I'm going to respectfully call it out. Doesn't mean I don't support Melody. It just means that I don't agree with something and have the right to say so. But don't attack people who have a different opinion. You can express your opinion, but don't do it in an antagonistic, vicious, or vitriolic way, because then people who are commenting on the show will feel attacked, okay? So on top of that, if random people are getting attacked on behalf of Melody, just random people who are making comments on the channel, right? On different forums. If that's happening, then people like Stormy's mother will feel justified in attacking Melody. They'll say, see, this is the kind of audience Melody has. You see, Melody's fans are just like her. Whenever you call her out on anything, they want to attack you. They're just like her. See, Melody's haters can use her fans to justify their attitudes towards Melody even more. So the advice is, you guys have to find more constructive ways or more healthy ways of showing support to Melody that does not embolden her enemies or doesn't amplify their voices. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to get some downvotes to my commentary, and some people may unsubscribe to my channel. That's okay too. I didn't start my channel to be liked or really, really popular. I just wanted to express my opinion about the show, and I've gotten some acknowledgement for that, and I've been able to contribute to some of the discourse on the show to an extent, which is great. But I don't need people to like me or to give me permission to have my own opinion. Your feelings won't change my mind about anything. Presenting the facts will change my mind, right? And some of Melody's fans may feel some kind of way about me saying this, and that's okay too. Last week, I talked about Martell being correct for how he handled the COVID situation, even if he had bad intention. He did what the CDC told him to do. And I spent most of my commentary, like 28 minutes, talking about how he was wrong for cultivating the toxic dynamic between Ariana and Melody. And I was still attacked, regardless. I was attacked because I had an opinion that differed from the audience, even though Martell was following the CDC guidelines, okay? That's unreasonable. That's irrational. That's not logical. That's not constructive. Because like I said, the way you guys treat me, you're treating Stormy's mother. And Stormy's mother now has a bootleg platform because of the attention that she's getting from Melody's fans and supporters. Do you guys want that? You have to modify your behavior to get the outcomes that you want. If you want Stormy's mother to have a platform, keep doing what you're doing. If you don't want to elevate her voice, then ignore her, because she's entitled to her opinion, and it's okay for her to not like Melody. She's never liked Melody, okay? And that still hasn't stopped Melody from taking care of her business. It hasn't stopped Melody from making money, right? It hasn't stopped her from doing what she needs to do to take care of her kids and her life and build her brand. So that's all right. You don't have to like me, but don't like me over there. How you feel about me is irrelevant, because I don't respect you anyway. I don't deal with you anyway. So at this point, it's irritating when people pay attention to just little petty comments made by Melody's haters. It is what it is. There's no need to have World War III every time somebody says one thing you don't like out of the 100 things that you agree with. So I say 100 things that are correct, that you agree with, but that one thing you don't agree with is worthy of me getting bombarded with comments. And I don't mind going back and forth with people in the audience, as you guys know by now, right? I choose not to do it intentionally because it can get really toxic and it's not productive. But I don't have a problem defending my position because it's my position. I'm not parroting what somebody else is saying, right? And again, I don't need permission from anybody to think what I'm thinking. We have to be respectful towards each other and stop elevating people who are not relevant. Stormy's mother is not relevant to the show. They may be trying to make her relevant because I heard that Tiffany and Lewis won't be back next year. That's okay, I guess. But either way, we don't need another Miss Wanda, right? So I'm sure Melody feels like as long as you're not in her way, she's cool with people not hating her, right? As long as you're not messing with her money or her kids or her safety, you can hate from over there. It's all good. She respects people's right to not like her, right? And I'm sure Melody isn't particularly fond of Stormy's mother either. And Stormy's mother doesn't care, I'm sure. So why should Melody care about Stormy's mom's opinion about her? She shouldn't. And I hope she doesn't, okay? So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. If you want to order personal astrology or tarot reading, you can go to my website, fill out the order entry form, submit payment via CashApp or Stripe. I'll have the reading to you within 3 to 5 business days. All confirmed orders will be delivered by the end of today. I've had major technical issues. This Mercury retrograde is about to kick my behind. This is the 3rd time I'm recording this commentary. I've had to re-record orders for my clients more than once. So I'm a couple days late. When I finish these orders today, I'll post an update to the community section and on IG so that guys know when I'm available to take more orders. But yeah, I look forward to reading your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will speak to you soon.